Hi, welcome to A Closer Look with Selah Freedom. I'm Elizabeth Melendez-Fisher, CEO, President, and one of the founders. And with me today, I'm delighted to introduce our assistant to Ed Brodsky at the State's Attorney's Office right here in Sarasota, Florida, Mr. Craig Schaefer. So we have a great show today, and welcome, Craig.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I wanted to start and get to know you a little bit because I always see you at events and hear you speaking with all your wisdom and knowledge about the law and all the great things we're doing together, but I don't know much about you personally, so I need to know, do you have siblings?
I have two younger sisters, Heidi, who's a medical doctor, and Rachel, who is a teacher. She's actually in Bratislava teaching with her husband and her two kids out there now. And then I have three stepbrothers who are out in California.
So you are the oldest?
I am the oldest.
So does that make you a rule follower or a rebel?
I am a prosecutor, so I have to say I'm a rule follower.
And was that your profile growing up?
I was more of a rule follower, I think, through high school. I think I broke some rules maybe in law school a little bit in college.
Got out there a bit. Well, you've been doing great things, and we're so grateful for the partnership. You and Ed Brodsky have come alongside Selah Freedom. And so tell me this, because it's been quite a few years now. What was the first time that you heard about Selah Freedom? How did you hear about it, and what did you think?
I honestly don't remember. I think it was maybe at a meeting at the Sarasota Police Department with their Sergeant De Niro putting a group together, and there was a lot of community organizations talking about, I don't think it was Tyla at that point. I don't think we had named it that. I thought there was some other name, and we were talking about doing some type of program to help women that are on the street that might be victims of human trafficking. That was probably 3-4 years ago.
Right, like 4 years ago.
Was it?
It was 4 years ago.
And
what did you think? Were you like crazy?
It was foreign to me. I tell people all the time, I've been a prosecutor for 23 years, and we never considered the treatment aspects really for women who are on the street, generally women on the street.
Right.
And it was a new look, and it was an eye-opening experience to realize what these women were going through, all the disorders they have and all the abuse they take on the street. And I think that over the last 4 years, not only has it opened my eyes and Ed's eyes, but it's opened all of our prosecutors' eyes and a lot of law enforcement's eyes. So it's been an amazing transition and evolution in my own philosophies of how I handle those cases and how we try to help those women instead of prosecuting the women.
So shift to compassion. Right.
The joke, some people call me the chief assistant social worker because we have so many programs now, not just Tyla, but dealing with drug court and veterans court and mental health court and healthcare court. And we obviously there's been a pendulum swing in criminal justice on how we handle a lot of the people that come through our system. They're not all bad people. They do sometimes stupid things or bad things, but they have reasons to do it sometimes that they need help for and rehabilitation.
Open to rehabilitate.
So I think as an office, I think we've made that transition to help as many as we can to get them back into the community to be productive citizens.
Done great work. And so for the audience, just so the audience understands, the education that happened for Selah Freedom as well as law enforcement and state's attorney, because Tyla was a collaborative effort. And then Tyla stands for Turn Your Life Around, and it's to give girls an opportunity to take back what was stolen. But every girl almost has the same story. She was a little girl, there's sexual abuse in her background. She never would have grown up if she had a perfect, pretty bedroom and said, I just want to go live on the streets and have men use me for sex. That will be lovely. And so getting people to think about it that way changes things a bit. So since the whole evolution and the birthing of Tyla, and we are the first prostitution court diversion program in the state of Florida, one of the only ones in the country. So kudos for being part of this whole formation. Kinsey Pentecost on our team, this was her passion and her baby that she was working this with you guys. So
Kinsey, and then also Dimitri Konstantopoulos from SPD and myself from our office, from the state attorney's office, worked collaboratively to really, make Tyla grow. Obviously, with Selah behind it,
And Chief DePino, passionate
and she was
championing it.
she championed it, and as well as Ed. Initially, I think it grew. It was kind of a grassroots, and then recently this year we started the first court, and it's still working through some of the logistical issues, but there's no doubt we're saving women.
Well, tell the audience this, because when you hear prostitution court diversion, like what exactly? So this last big case, a lot of people ask us, what happened? What were the details? What was that like? Do a little nutshell in the courtroom, because what people, the girl that was part of that, she's now in protective services someplace, who knows where, but she was a big part of your...
It was actually, I had promised Kinsey that I would do the first human trafficking case in the circuit, actually under the human trafficking statute. So this case came around, and I assisted Brooke Kernan, who was a new felony attorney on the case, and she worked tirelessly on that, and she worked with the victim on the case numerous times. I met her at the safe house, as you know, and helped her get through the process. Getting a victim to trial is a very difficult experience for a prosecutor, but it's 10 times harder for the victim to go through the trauma they're going to face, what they perceive they're going to face in court, the fear. In this case, this was her pimp, for lack of a better word, but also boyfriend at some level. And
right,
there was mixed
they believe
feelings,
it's a boyfriend.
and it's mixed feelings in many respects. So getting them to the point where they're able to confront this person and stand up to this person is a difficult chore, and it would never have happened without Selah and Tyla, because she would have never been in protective custody. She would have never been in her safe house. She would have never received the counseling that she needed. So typically in the past, these cases never came to fruition because the victims, typically they might report it that day, they might go to the emergency room, but that's the end of it. You never can find them. They never cooperate. They're afraid. They're reunited with their pimp or their abuser, and those cases just don't ever come to fruition in court. This victim was courageous, and our office took a hard stance on it. And we had SPD, Sarasota Police Department, help us track down witnesses. I mean, it was really, truly a team effort to bring justice to her and to get this man off the street. His sentencing is pending, and it will be happening soon. But it was an amazing result. It was, I think she will be empowered by it. I saw her in court actually in the last month, and I spoke to the whole audience about her.
Everything happens on this show. Okay. You never know. People just walk up out of nowhere, and they'll take that person right out of this room, just exit them completely out of the room. Live, there you go.
But the victim in this case is so courageous, and she gets so many kudos for coming forward.
Well,
and I think it empowers not only her, but also a lot of other victims on the street that are suffering from the same abuse and human trafficking. They're going to have more courage, I think, and more.
And did you hear what happened? I'm sure you did, but there was a girl that she was out there with, sort of appeared that she was in that same trafficker pimp, sort of wrapped up with him, and they found that girl dead about 4 weeks ago. She didn't make it.
And we actually tried to get her involved, but she
came a couple times, but wasn't ready to.
She wasn't ready, and she was still in love with him and believed in him, and obviously
thought he was her protector. It's amazing.
It's sad.
So proud of you for you jumping in on it, because a lot of the guys, I remember when we first started talking to law enforcement, gosh, back in 2010, 2011, it's a population that was viewed as belligerent, and why are we what?
And I was one of those people. I mean, just growing up as a prosecutor, it's the third prostitution. They're not learning their lesson. 60 days, 90 days, 6 months county jail, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I had law enforcement viewed it the same way. I think one of the things that really turned it around for me, I went to the graduation you had last year.
Oh, share about our graduation.
And there was 11.
Amazing.
That was last year. And I'd already believed, obviously, in the program and had done trainings with Kinsey and Connie and Dimitri at different places around the state. But watching, there was 11 girls, and I don't remember how many were in Thailand and how many graduated from Selah, but watching those women, the I don't know, improvement, the empowerment, all those words that come to mind, adjectives that shows how they are hopefully going to make it. I think all of them have legitimate chances to make it. It's just amazing watching their transformation from what they were and what their criminal histories were to what they are now. And I know one of them is even involved as a spokesperson with Selah, and she got
to speak in front of the governor at the recent
she did up
press tour.
Yep, and it's truly we're saving lives. So as
Absolutely.
prosecutors, we're not all about throwing everybody in jail.
No, you're doing remarkable work.
But it was a refreshing thing, and I was very proud of that.
In the beginning of that, there was law enforcement standing up talking about how they used to not believe that people could actually be rehabilitated. And then they started talking about our program, and they were moved to tears. Then the girls came up, and they were talking in tears and thanking law enforcement and hugging. I was like, this is crazy. Isn't it beautiful?
It's making a difference.
It was beautiful.
Law enforcement and prosecution were sister brothers in that
and
field.
the girls are running to you for solutions. They know you could save them.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Thank you. So what we're going to do to wrap up, we're going to do something fun because it's always fun to get to know you in a different way. So how many people remember the game 3 Truths and a Lie? Right?
I never played that game. 2
truths and a lie.
I
2,
never
not
played
3.
that game.
So 2 statements you're going to tell me are true, and one's going to be a lie, and then we're going to guess. So Craig Schaefer.
Do I have a second?
Up close and personal.
Can I think about these now?
No, that would make it 2. You know, you're an attorney. You're going to pick ones that make you look good. What comes to mind?
Okay. I played college baseball. I ran with the Bulls in Pamplona, and I was on a high school chess team.
All right, so 2 of those are true. All right, I'm going to say yes to college baseball.
People out there are guessing.
Oh yeah, do you guys know what you're thinking?
I hear them guessing.
I think baseball, because I see you with your son and you're just amazing baseball dad. So I'm going to say college baseball is true. And then I'm going to say chess club is true. Because if you're not a rebel, I don't know if you're running.
Okay. I did not play college baseball because I was young. I started college when I was 16, and I was not as physically mature as maybe some of the other kids there. So I did not play college baseball. But I was very good in the state of Florida in chess. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed.
That's a brilliant, shows your mind.
To be on the chess team in high school. Now I'm kind of proud of it.
Absolutely.
Even though people make fun of me. No. And I did run with the Bulls in 1991 in Pamplona.
That is not a firstborn trait.
I do take some risks.
That's awesome. So we're going to close with this. We're going to be ending this segment, and we're going to have our next segment talking about our events and upcoming stuff with Selah Freedom. Okay. But our very next event is called A Night of Celebration and Dance, and it's going to be a very fun salsa, cha-cha, everything going on. So Craig Schaefer, for our night of dance, will you be out there on the dance floor, or will you be hiding behind a table after you get your part of speaking?
Is there alcohol there? I would probably have to drink a little bit before I dance.
But you're going to be out there?
We'll see.
All
probably.
Right. So stay tuned. You're going to want to get your tickets for that. And our next segment will be right back with Vanessa Morris, our Director of Awareness, to share more about our amazing events coming up. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Good job. You did it. Welcome back to A Closer Look with Selah Freedom. For this segment, we are welcoming our Director of Awareness, Ms. Vanessa Morris, and she's going to update us on all the incredible events coming up very soon.
Yeah, we have some great events coming up, and one of those is an evening of celebration. So I know that you touched on this with Craig that was up here. We have a night of dance, an extravaganza for you guys, and we are so excited to have just a totally interactive night where everyone is invited and everybody's involved. So October 25th, it's a Tuesday evening, and it's going to be at Gulf Coast Eagle, an evening of celebration. So celebrating the survivor stories that we have to share, celebrating how much of an impact we've made in thousands of lives, and really what an impact we've made in the community. So we want the community to come and get involved in that. So you don't even need a dance partner because we are going to have plenty available. We are going to have instruction live on the dance floor where you'll be learning the salsa, the cha-cha, even line dancing and swing dancing. So we're really covering the whole array. We have tons of different restaurants that have donated platters, so there's going to be delicious food, there's going to be free drinks that night, great live auctions, and like I said, plenty of interactive dance. So we have a committee that has rallied around that to make it possible. So maybe you want to share a little bit about our chickers.
Oh yeah, because we're super grateful for the host committee. So we have Mr. Dan Hoff, who is connected and knows absolutely everybody, and him and George Miles. George used to work with WEDU our PBS. He wasn't at EDU, he's at another market with PBS, and they're going to be they're going to be in charge of the auction and in charge of sort of keeping everybody going that night for the dance. There's some surprises with the dance competitions and things like that. And then Renee Frigo-Graf is going to be one of the co-chairs, Alexis Rosenberg, as well as Karen Roth. And last but not least, Miss Peg Rout, who is amazingly connected as well. So these girls and Dan are bringing in a whole set of surprises to make it what they all have said, and everybody they've spoken to said there's never been an event like this in Sarasota before. So we really hope you'll come out. It will sell out, so try to get your tickets right away.
Yeah, I love that. It is definitely going to be unlike anything before. And we have tickets now available at SelahFreedom.com. And you can also call in or mail in checks for your tickets. But like we said, they are going to go quickly, so you want to get them now. We also have sponsorship opportunities available too. So that's one of our greatest events that's coming up. And like I said, October 25th, save that date, get your tickets now. We also have events that are coming up for those of you who want to lock arms with us by volunteering. And we have hundreds of volunteers that are getting involved with us in so many different ways. And we touched on that in our last segment too, the first show that we did, because we couldn't do this without our volunteers. That's volunteers that come in and they participate in beautification days on our property. They offer transportation to the women in our program. They are tutors. They do arts and crafts. They're involved in the jail outreach, on our awareness team, and our speakers bureau. No matter what your gifting is in your area of interest, there's a way to plug that in. So actually tomorrow, September 21st at noon, we have a Volunteer Connect meeting at the Selah Freedom office, and our address and all of the information there where you can RSVP is at SelahFreedom.com, and it will give you a great chance to meet some of our staff members, our team, learn about the different areas that you personally can get involved in, and you can have touch points with the survivors in our program and feel connected to this mission on a personal level. And we are super excited to get our Chicagoland volunteers up and running. We have teams that we are ready to launch. And so September 30th is going to be our first Volunteer Connect meeting, and it is going to take place at 11 o'clock to 12:30 at the Christian Heritage Academy. And we are so excited to meet you all, to answer your questions, for you to meet some of our staff and learn how you can get involved in a hands-on way. And we actually have two other events that are coming up, one sooner than later, but we have some save the dates for you. So the 29th of September is our Tee It Up Against Trafficking, and we're super excited about that, because even if you are an amazing golfer and that's not your forte, everybody wants a great meal, right? So we're having a golf tournament and a dinner event that's happening in Kenosha, and again, it's called Tee It Up Against Trafficking, an awesome fundraiser for that region. So if you're in the area, we'd love to see you. Elizabeth and I are both going to be there. We're going to be sharing some survivor stories and again, how you can get involved. And then we have a special save the date. January 26th is going to be a New Beginning fashion show. That is our annual event. It is our one of our largest events that is so fun and so exciting, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Tickets are also available now at SelahFreedom.com.
Great job. And the co-chairs of that event, do you remember? Tammy Karp and Donna Kaufman.
Thank you.
Those ladies are amazing.
Yes.
And they could do things I can't even imagine.
They're going to make it a memorable evening.
Better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So great job. I think you covered it all. And for those of you that are wondering, Kenosha, it's in Wisconsin. So we are doing a Midwest launch of Chicago, but there's, suburban or communities outside of Chicago that are supporting us as well. So.
If you haven't heard about it yet, you'll hear about it more, trust me.
Yeah, so very good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So stay tuned. We'll be back with our Director of Training and Survivor Leadership, Miss Connie Rose. So we'll be right back. Welcome back to A Closer Look with Selah Freedom. I'm excited to introduce our Director of Training and Survivor Leadership, Ms. Connie Rose.
So my segment is talking about survivor leadership, because at Selah Freedom, we do what we do because at the end of the day, it's all about our survivors and the incredible stories and passionate information that they can share back to us. But before I do that, you know, Selah V is our beautiful restore, resale boutique that we have. And we have survivors art. And so we're going to be showing a picture of some of our survivor art to you a little bit later. But just know that every single segment that we do, we're always going to feature a piece of survivor art that you too can go and purchase at Selah V. But right now I'm going to share a couple stories with you. And the first one, remember, these are all from our survivors, and it's an honor and a privilege as a survivor to be able to share another survivor's story. And she says, you know, I was beaten down by life and situations. I knew that the life that I was leading was not where I wanted to be. And I stated, I don't want to die out there on the street. I overcame enormous odds and was able to take a leap of faith because I came into the assessment house at Selah Freedom. You know, over a course of 30 days, I began to see the beauty within myself. I put my trust in the coaches and the staff that were all around me, and the results were absolutely amazing. You know, I credit my success in part to another resident that I saw overcome similar obstacles. And for me, that gave me the hope that I too could change. And here's another story. I found myself in detox at the age of 24, and that is the very first time that I met Selah Freedom. You know, I was shocked. I backed up a little bit. I was like, no, I'm not ready. It took me a long time because, you see, my journey started 10 years earlier. I was a minor. I was sold by my mom's dealer. And in return, he gave us food. He gave us shelter, even some nice clothes because we didn't have any. And of course, drugs. Yeah, drugs, which I became hooked on as well. And you know what? I even remember those times when my mom and we would stay up together and we would get high together. But eventually I was given away. I was put into the foster care system. I was sent from house to house, place to place. But that didn't stop me from being exploited. Soon after, I got pregnant, not once, but twice. And my drug addiction, well, that got worse and worse. And I became so desperate because I was forced into having sex with a family member and to get formula, sex for formula from my babies and diapers. I know that sounds really bad, but you know what? I didn't have a choice. After several drug overdoses that followed, I became connected with Selah Freedom. I was grateful for their help at first, and you know what? I went into the assessment house. Oh my goodness, it was so beautiful and so pretty. But before I knew it, I was back with my pimp. Because you see, there was other things in my life that were still going on that I wasn't ready to face. I knew that I needed help, so I reached out to Selah Freedom again, and they were there. And they let me back into the assessment house. After finding out what the real issue was, more than the sexual abuse that I had endured as a young child, more than the drug addiction, was the cavities and the rot within my mouth and my teeth. Because you see, that's what the drug addiction did to me. And Selah Freedom came along, they walked alongside of me, but more importantly, they reached out to some of their donors. And the donors came along and said, whatever she needs, because restoring her mouth will restore her so that she can walk and live her life purpose. And she said, you know what? Crazy through this all, I stayed with Selah Freedom. I ended up in the hospital. They came and visited me. They walked alongside me and they were by my side the entire time. And I just kept receiving the gift of healing. Healing emotionally and healing physically. And then my confidence, it came back. Not just for myself, but I was able to give that confidence to the other women that are in the residential program. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you, and thank you for what you do.
So Connie, how does it feel reading stories like that? That's amazing. I never even heard that last one. It's beautiful.
It's amazing. It really takes a lot for me not to become emotional and to cry reading it, because I can remember some of those same thoughts and feelings of my own self and part of my own journey. And to have our women, to give our women that voice, they wrote this, so we give them the voice on our blog, and then to be able to give them an additional voice here, on our show is just amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
So every week we will hear more survivor stories with Connie Rose. And every week, stay tuned to hear more about the success that's happening in the lives of survivors at Selah Freedom. So we'll be right back to close. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the final segment of A Closer Look with Selah Freedom. We're just going to have some closing comments. So Connie Rose, anything you want to close with today? Great job.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So how exciting is this? Elizabeth and I are both doing TED Talks, almost back to back. Hers is October 27th in Chicago, and mine is November 5th in Ocala, Florida. So we hope that you go to SelahFreedom.com and check out the dates and buy some tickets.
Excellent. That's amazing, right? Same days almost.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
And then Vanessa, closing comments on our events.
Yes, I am looking forward to seeing all of you there. I want you all to go to SelahFreedom.com, get your tickets, and in case you needed an extra incentive, Craig's going to be doing a solo dance there that you do not want to miss.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Vanessa.
I'm just putting it out there. I mean, I know you're really excited about it.
I am very excited about it.
How was it, Craig? You were our first guest on A Closer Look with Selah Freedom. What do you think? How was it?
Everything's great except for the dancing part. No, it's obviously a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us here.
Absolutely.
Having me as a representative at Brodsky's office. We love partnering with Selah and
We are
and
thrilled.
doing great things in the community.
Thrilled to have you guys on our side. It's like having champions that are amazing. So we are very grateful. And you know what? We will have more fabulous guests as great as Craig Schaefer in the upcoming episodes. So stay tuned. You never know who you may see on A Closer Look with Selah Freedom. So that's a wrap. Thank you.